Niels Bohr himself noticed the analogies between thought and quantum phenomena. And then David Bohm, in a book that he wrote about 1950 when he was teaching quantum physics at Princeton, also has several paragraphs pointing out the analogies between thought processes and quantum phenomena.
And what are those analogies?
Well, the analogies are that in quantum theory, you have that the world seems to divide naturally into thought-like things and rock-like things, or sort of thought-like matter and non-matter. Now, I have to say at the outset that I'm going to be giving the picture of the quantum reality according to David Bohm's view of things.
Which is in the same tradition as Einstein.
Which is the same tradition as Einstein. There's like a schism now in physics today between Niels Bohr and Albert Einstein. Niels Bohr and Einstein debated the meaning of quantum theory, and they were never able to come into any agreement. The controversy still rages on today.
And it has to do with Einstein's famous quote that God does not play dice with the universe.
Exactly. Einstein did not believe, well, let's put it this way. Bohr said that God does play dice with the universe, but that he uses a fair coin, so to speak. It's 50-50. What is beginning to become clearer and clearer, at least from my point of view, is that to the extent that God does play dice with the universe, he loads the dice. He plays with unfair dice, and the loading of the dice is our consciousness. That's where consciousness comes in.
So, back to the original question, the analogy between what you sometimes call the level 2, or the quantum mechanical level, and thought.
Okay. Here's the way this is the universe according to Jack, the world according to Jack. Reality, physical reality, has 3 levels. I'll call it level 1, level 2, and level 3.
Okay.
Level 1 is the level of what's called classical physics. Yeah. It's the ordinary physics of automobiles and spacecraft and things like that. If you want to use David Bohm's language, it's what David called the explicate order, the outer order of things. Right. It's space and time and matter as we normally perceive it.
Okay.
That's level 1, classical physics. Beneath level 1 is level 2, which is the quantum reality. Okay, in quantum reality, what's happening is that these thought-like patterns of information are guiding the behavior of the level 1 material. Now, these thought-like patterns of information, they are still physical fields, but they are fields that exist beyond ordinary space and time. But they influence, they project into space and time, they influence space and time.
They exist in hyperspace.
They exist, you could call it, they exist in a hyperspace, which is almost like a cyberspace, if you like.
Yeah.
It's almost like the space of, it's like a mind space in a way.
I mean, that alone, to my way of thinking, is such an extraordinary realization that physicists are saying this higher dimensional hyperspace is as real as anything else.
In fact, it's not
although
only
it's non-material.
It's non-material, but it's physically real. In fact, without this thought-like space of information beneath the surface of things, matter would not be hard. The hardness of matter, the stability and diversity of matter depend upon these thought-like patterns that are beyond space and time, but which actually influence the structure of matter in space and time.
And you make an interesting distinction that these thought-like patterns, these quantum fields, I suppose we could call them technically the Schrodinger waves of quantum mechanics, the psi waves, incidentally, but they're not conscious.
No, they're not conscious yet. They're not conscious at level 2. Now, a level 2 is also called by Bohm the implicate order. Some of you may have heard of the universe like a hologram, the holographic universe, things like that. That sort of has to do with the implicate order. But although the quantum properties of matter are thought-like, they're still not conscious the way we're conscious. They're not self-aware yet.
But I'm still a little unclear. Why are they thought-like? Simply because they're non-material?
Well, that's part of it. They're thought-like for several reasons. They're thought-like because, number one, they're beyond space and time. They're non-mechanistic, which means although they influence matter, they don't influence it in a kind of mechanical push and pull force kind of way. I call it the force without force. You can think of it, it's almost like a telepathic influence. If you want to think of it in a popular way, it's the force of Star Wars. Remember the Force, Luke. It's that sort of a thing.
More like probabilities.
Well, I don't even want to say probabilities. A lot of quantum physicists talk in terms of probabilities, but the important thing to realize about Bohm's way of looking at the quantum world is that probability is a secondary thing. It's not fundamental.
Yeah.
Okay, that Bohm's theory really deals with the weird properties of individual systems, and probability comes out a little bit later. It's more of a superficial aspect to the world. That's why, see, Bohm was working with Einstein, and that's, according to Bohm, God really doesn't play dice with the universe. Dice is probability. Throwing dice is probability. So it's not quite, so although probability plays a role, it's not a fundamental role in terms of understanding the way the mind works.
And now you've introduced what you call level 3. That really goes beyond what most physicists talk about today. Even Bohm just barely alluded to it.
Yeah, Bohm just barely alluded to it. Level 3, that's where the mind is. That's where consciousness is, at least my opinion, my humble opinion. As they say on the internet, IMHO, in my humble opinion.
Okay.
That's the acronym. So, and this is the big debate now. The really new thing in physics is whether level 3 exists. Now, I say it does exist. Bohm referred to it as the super implicate order. So you have level 1 is the explicate order, or the outer order. Level 2 of ordinary quantum reality is the implicate order, you could say the inner order. And level 3 is something even deeper, well, let's call it the super implicate order, and that's where mind is. In fact, even the mind of God, that's the mind of God.
And so you, if I understand you correctly, resolve the classic mind-body problem of philosophy by suggesting that mind was sort of there from the very beginning at level 3.
Absolutely. Level 3 is the deepest level of all reality. And you can say that level 1 and level 2 are sort of like, they just emerge out of the sentient level 3. So it really is a conscious universe at the deepest level, or a sentient universe, which gets us also, Dean Radin's book on paranormal is called The Conscious Universe. I guess I'll give him a plug. Because that is the picture.
So what you're saying is consistent, in effect, with the classical views of mystics of almost all cultures, and that is that this reality of space and time and matter and objects and bodies sort of evolved from a superconscious realm.
Absolutely, yes, that's the truth. But I like to call it mysticism without mysticism, because there really is a technology inherent in this, and it's not just vague poetry. It's real physics that's going to have implications for our lives.
And some of the implications for you, I know that you're very interested in, are the possibility of using these models to design and build conscious computer chips.
Absolutely, conscious computer chips. And that would be an application of what's called nanotechnology. A nanometer is like a billionth of a meter. It's at the level of a couple of atoms wide. And we have reason to think from a theory, well, not, I guess, observations of a man named Stuart Hameroff, who's an anesthesiologist at the University of Arizona, discovered that inside the nerve cells are what's called these microtubule structures, and they are nanotechnology level structures, and there are these little electrons inside the microtubules, and the electrons control the shapes of protein molecules. The protein molecule could be like a closed fist or open switch. It's like a switch. It's like a switch, like on a computer, just like a transistor on a computer. And it looks as though when we actually look at the subneuronal level of our nerve cells, it looks like a computing circuit at the microtubule level. So the idea of the chip, of the conscious computing chip, will be to use nanotechnology to simulate what's actually in our nerve cells. And then if the theory is right, if this is level 3 post-quantum physics, I call it, if that theory is correct, we should make an artificially conscious computing device, sort of like Commander Data's brain in Star Trek. That's exactly, we're talking about conscious robots, conscious androids. They will be as conscious as humans.